Hello everyone, we have learned some terms like Chinese material medica. Today we will go through the main part of the basic theory of Chinese material medica, which is the basic actions of medicinal substances. The basic actions of medicinal substances include the four properties, the five tastes, directions of effects, meridian classification, and toxicity. They are important parts of the theoretical system of TCM, which generalize the nature and the characteristics of the actions of Chinese material medica, and is based on the reaction of the body after medication. The basic actions of medical substances are the basic principle of Chinese material medica. They are also the essence of the experience accumulated in the clinical use of medicinal substances through thousands of years. At the same time, they work as the clarification of the Chinese material medica's efficacy mechanism, as well as the theoretical basis for understanding and utilizing Chinese material medica under the guidance of the TCM theory. The four properties refer to different properties of Chinese drugs, which are cold, cool, warm, and hot. Cold and cool are similar in property but different in degree. So are hot and warm. Generally speaking, drugs with cold and cool in property can relieve heat syndromes. For example, they can clear heat, purge or remove toxic substances, and nourish yin. In contrast, drugs with warm and hot in property can treat cold syndromes. For example, they can scatter cold, warm up the interior, increase yang, and cure collapse. Here is an application for the theory. Peppermint is cool in property, so it can dispel wind heat, keep the head clear, and relieve sore throats. While fresh ginger is warm in property, so it can dispel pathogenic vectors from the exterior of the body by diaphoresis. Warm the middle to stop nausea, and warm the lungs to arrest cough. Drugs with properties in the middle of warm and cool are called neutral. However, they are often likely to be slightly cool or warm, so there are still four properties, not five. For example, both ginseng and American ginseng can invigorate qi and treat qi deficiency syndromes, such as fatigue, weakness in the limbs, shortness of breath, dizziness, indigestion. Ginseng is slightly warm in nature, and American ginseng is slightly cool, so it depends clinically. The five tastes of drugs are pungent, sour, sweet, bitter, and salty, which have different therapeutic effects respectively. In fact, there are other kinds of tastes named bland and astringent, but sour, bitter, sweet, pungent, and salty are the five basic tastes, which is why we usually say five tastes rather than seven tastes. In most instances, drugs' flavors can be detected by taste or smell, but sometimes they are judged according to the drug's therapeutic effects based on a long period of clinical practice. Drugs with a pungent taste can cause sweating and activate the flow of qi and blood. They are often usually indicated by exterior syndromes due to infection by exogenic factors, or by the syndromes due to stagnation of qi and blood. For example, ephedra and peppermint are diaphoretic for an exterior syndrome. Sequin-Lovage rhizome may be used for blood stagnation syndrome to promote blood circulation. As we know, all of them have pungent taste. Ephedra is warm in nature and with pungent taste, so it can dispel wind cold and used for exterior wind cold syndrome. while peppermint is cool in nature, so it can dispel wind heat, used for exterior wind heat syndrome. Drugs with a sour taste have an astringent effect and can preserve the essence. They are often used to treat chronic diseases and deficiency syndrome, such as incessant sweating, chronic cough, protracted diarrhea. For example, dark plum has the effect of astringing the lung to relieve cough, astringing the bowels to store diarrhea, and promoting the production of the body fluid to quench thirst. Sweet is a taste like that of sugar. Drugs with a sweet flavor have a tonic effect. They are used to replenish or invigorate qi, blood, yin and yang. Drugs with a sweet flavor can relieve pain and spasm, as well as harmonizing the properties of the different drugs. They are generally used to treat syndromes of deficiency types, dry coughs, constipation due to dry intestine, and various pains. For example, ginseng with sweet flavor can replenish qi and tonify the spleen and lung. Prepared Rehmannia root can tonify the blood and kidney yin. Chinese Angelica root can tonify blood, regulate menstruation, as well as relieve pain, and the licorice root can harmonize the properties of different drugs. Drugs with a bitter taste can induce purgation and dry, or resolve dampness, eliminate heat, and purge and reserve or consolidate yin. They are often used in treating febrile disease, coughs, vomiting, hiccups, constipation, and fullness of stomach and abdomen due to accumulation of dampness. For example, bitter apricot kernel or bitter apricot seed has the effect of relieving cough and asthma. Good thread rhizome eliminates heat and dampness. Rhubarb is bitter and cool or cold, can eliminate excessive heat by purgation, used for constipation. Drugs with a salty taste can soften hard masses and subdue yang by replenishing yin. They are often used in treating dry stool and constipation, scrofula, goiter, and masses in abdomen, etc. For example, oyster shell, salty and perchlorate in taste, can soften and dissolve hard masses as well as including astringency. Drugs with a bland taste can eliminate dampness and induce diuretic effects, used for edema, dysuria, diarrhea, and so on. For example, tasteless porrhea and salmon sauces can include diuretics and remove dampness. There are 5 flavors. Drugs have different therapeutic effects because of different flavors. Now we are going to talk the directions of the effects. Directions of the effects mean actions of ascending, descending, floating, and sinking, referring to upward, downward, outward, and inward directions as the drugs work in the human body when they are being taken. Vomiting, belching, and coughing, spontaneous sweating, and night sweating are upward and outward trends. The drugs that can treat these syndromes belong to descending and sinking drugs. Diarrhea, menorrhagia, prolapse of the rectum, and the syndrome transmission from exterior to the interior are downward and inward trends. The drugs that can treat these syndromes are ascending and floating drugs. That is the directions of effects, which mean the working directions of drugs in human body: ascending, descending, floating, and sinking. Meridian classification refers to a drug's selective therapeutic effects on a certain part of the body. A drug may have a specific therapeutic action on the pathological changes in certain or several meridians and corresponding visceral and produce little or no little effect on others. Heat-clearing drugs such as skullcap roots, goat thread rhizome, and philodendron bark are bitter of flavor and cold nature. Skullcap roots acts on the long meridian and clear the lung heat. Goat thread rhizome acts on the heart meridian and clears the heart heat. Philodendron barks acts on the kidney and bladder meridian and clear the kidney and bladder fire. Some drugs have similar effects, but due to different meridian distribution, the parts of the body which act on are different. Meridian classification means the drugs is selective therapeutic effects. The toxicity of traditional drugs has two meanings. The first, each drug can cure diseases due to its toxicity, which is its own specific character. The second, the therapeutic dosage approaches the toxic range or is already within the toxic range, or the therapeutic dosage may cause severe side effects. As stated in the literature on herbal medicine, some drugs are marked with toxic, slightly toxic, extremely poisonous, and deadly poisonous. In clinical practice, we must be careful in choosing drugs, especially those poisonous ones. For the sake of safety, we can eliminate or lessen the toxicity of poisonous drugs by means of processing, combination, dispensing, and preparation. Today, we have learned the basic action of medicinal substances. There's 4 properties, 5 tests, directions of effects, meridian classification, and toxic theory. 4 properties refers to the different properties of Chinese drugs: cold, cool, warm, hot, and neutral. 5 tests refers to the different flavors and the therapeutic effects of the drugs, namely pungent, sour, sweet, bitter, salty, and bland. Directions of effects means the working of directions of drugs in the human body, namely ascending, descending, floating, and thinking. Meridian classification refers to the drug's specific therapeutic action on the meridians and the relationship between the specific therapeutic action on the visceral or meridians. Toxicity of drugs refers to the toxic and the side effect of drugs. So much for today. Thank you. Goodbye.